Hello, my name is Kelly Bluen. I am a certified Zentangle teacher, and this is my friend Audrey Shantz of Audrey Shantz Art.
Hi guys.
So she does watercolor, and this is part 2 of a 2-part video series. Is that what you would call it? So in part number 1, Audrey guided us through making these beautiful little acorn collections for fall. They're so cute. I love them. And so then in this video, I'm going to show you how to do some Zentangle method of drawing. I don't know, I didn't say that right, but we're gonna do some Zentangle patterns and other fun patterns on top of the watercolor. So all you need for this is some sort of fine line pen. This is a micron PN plastic nib. You need a little pencil for shading. These are Zentangle, but number 2 works as well. So I'll just got a number 2 and then a blending tool. And that's it. Let's get started. All right, you guys, we are ready to get started. I am so excited about this. I absolutely love doing collaborations with Audrey and just playing around with ink first, then watercolor, or watercolor first and then ink. And this is going to be a fun one. So this is November 1st. This is releasing November 1st of 2024, and it is following, both of us did an Inktober challenge where she did 30 amazing videos of 30 tips and tricks to watercolor. So if you haven't watched that yet, go back and watch them. They are absolutely amazing. And then I did 31 videos of Zentangle patterns and patterns from artists all over the world. So we are doing some, we already did video number 1. She showed us some tips and techniques to paint it. And now we're going to take our micron pen and add some tangles. And I am purposely using a few from the Inktober challenge and then adding in some different ones. How comfortable are you with Zentangle, Audrey?
I would say I am new.
She's fairly new.
But I really like it. So,
okay.
Yeah, I don't know.
So we have hopefully figured out picture in a picture or screen in a screen. I don't even know what you call it, but hopefully you are seeing her to the right of the screen.
Hello.
And you can watch her draw along as well. Okay, so I'm using my micron pen and it should go over the watercolor just
make
fine.
Sure that, okay, I'm just gonna say, you guys just make sure that your watercolor is completely dry before you do this.
Yeah, good advice. Make sure it's dry. All right, so we are going to do, I think, about 5, maybe 6 patterns. And I'm going to start up here in the top left cute little acorn. That's the biggest one. And we're going to start on the top part up there.
Okay.
Okay, so for this one, I'm going to zoom in a little bit on mine. Maybe, there we go. Okay. And so the top of an acorn has like kind of that cross hatching type pattern. I'm not going to do that on all of them, but I am on this first one. So what I'm going to do is sort of follow this curve here, and I'm going to go in a little bit, probably about a pinky width, and I'm going to follow that curve kind of like an aura. So I've got this nice wide line over here. Can you see mine? Then I'm going to go about a pinky width again, do a curve to the other side, and then I've got room for one more down here. And it does not matter how many you have in here.
Okay, real quick, should I have one on this side?
If you want.
Okay.
I'm not, but you can.
Okay, I'll wait and see.
Okay, and then we're going to do the opposite. So now I'm going to look at this right side curve over here, and I want to do an aura, so I'm going to go about a pinky width. I'm going to start down here, and I'm going to do that same type of curve the opposite way, following this outside line. That was a lot of information. So I'm going to come up and curve this way. It does not matter where it lands, in conjunction with the first lines. And I'm going to do another one. And I'm just kind of trying to keep these even. I've got room for one more down here. Look how cute that already looks. We could like stop here and it looks amazing. Okay, So I'm going to do a pattern called a mingle, and I'm going to write it on here on the back. And I can't remember our first day of Inktober we did this, but it was like a variation. Okay, so I'm going to put ZT because this is a Zen Tangle pattern. All right, so a mingle is like making a cinnamon roll or a spiral, but in the form of a square. So I'm going to pick this middle one here because it's kind of my largest area. It doesn't get cut off. So I'm going to go on one of the corners here, and I'm going to go in just a little bit, and I'm going to aura that line and stop before I touch the other line. And then I'm going to follow that one and stop. And I'm following like the shape as well. So this one has a bit of a curve. I'm going to follow that little curve, and then I'm going to stop. I'm always stopping before I get to that next line. And then I'm just going to keep going until it's filled. Nice little angular spiral. Okay, then let's just pick another one. I'm going to do this one here. I'm just going to go in a little bit from that side. I kind of aura it, and you just keep auraing. And an aura is just a line that like walks beside another. So right here, Audrey was asking, like, she's like, should I put another line in here? Because these ones did get kind of wide. I'm just going to leave mine wide. But if you want, you can put a line in there and then just do a partial. Okay, so I'm going to go up from that line. These look really cool.
Mm-hmm, it's cute.
Just keep going. So now I'm getting to some partial ones. And when you do those, you just have to imagine. So like, let me do this one over here that's kind of in half. So I'm going to go up, and then if like I had a whole area here, I would go out. You know what I mean? It's kind of small and squished. So I'm just going to pretend like my pen lifts up, comes over here, and then comes back in on this side. I don't know if that made sense. I'll do another one. Here's a partial one down here. So I'm going to go up, over, down. I'm going to imagine it coming over here where we can't see it, and then it pops back up over here. It doesn't matter if you do it perfectly correct or not. This one, I would just lose that little corner, and then it would come back this way. I'm going to do this one. When you get to those harder ones, you just kind of make it up. Like I just put a couple little lines in there, and it's not important if I get it exactly right. These little triangles, I just added a little triangle aura. Up here, let's see how I can do this one. All right, pretty cool. How'd yours turn out? Oh, look at that. I love it.
Yeah.
It's so fun. And I love, usually we Zentangle over a solid color. And I love that we've already got like this little bit of shading in there. Okay, so I'm going to do possibly every pattern twice. So I did the grid up there, and now I'm going to do it down here on this little guy. Well, no, I'm not. No, I'm not. I changed my mind. Is that okay with you if I change my mind?
You're allowed. You're allowed.
Okay, we're gonna go to the bottom of this one now and do something different. Okay, so down here I'm going to do veerap. Let me write that down. This is one from our Inktober challenge, and that was created by Debbie Rain, SCZT. Okay. So I'm doing the V-wrap a little bit upside down, but it begins with like a thumbnail or a fingernail size little half circle. And I'm going to put that right here. So you can see my fingernail. You don't want it to be too tiny. You want it to kind of fit the space. And then we're going to ink it in. And I'm going to add a little white, not white, but a little circle here that I'm not going to color in to be a bit of a reflection. You don't have to have that, but it does kind of break up the space a little bit. And if it's too small, then just make it a little bigger. Okay, then V-wrap has these parallel lines, they're parallel to each other, coming out from this first little half circle. So I'm going to make my first one not against the edge, but out a little bit, and it's going to go like this. I just put a little parallel line. And all of these we're sort of imagining coming from the center. So if this is the center, my next one I'm going to do right about here. And if you want to make yours wider as it gets to the bottom, you can. Mine are pretty similar in size, but you could do that. My next one's going to line up pretty perfectly with my little dip here in the acorn. That probably has a name, doesn't it? The bottom of the acorn?
Probably
I don't know.
does.
But I'm going to let mine go down there. If yours doesn't match up perfectly on there, don't worry about it. And then I'm going to do one off to the side over here. And one more. And then the next part of V-wrap is these bumps. And so we have kind of these straight edges. And so I'm going to let my bump just sort of fall inside of it. So I'm going to start right up here at that top corner of the bottom of the acorn. And I'm going to do like a little bump to that first line. And then it's a little tiny bump. And then this bump. And then a little one. And now I've got this big shape here. So I'm just going to follow it. And then a little bump, follow, little bump. It's kind of weird to do bumps when we have these straightish lines, but it still works. And then I'm going to draw right over the top of that bottom section. All right, and then this fun technique, so in these little tiny parallel lines, I'm going to start at the center. And I'm going to put some ink coming out towards the middle, and then I'm going to stop. And then I'm going to come to the end, and I'm going to put some ink towards the middle and stop. And it leaves this little bit of white space, like a little reflection. And I like keeping that edge where they almost meet a little bit like rough. And then I'm going to do this one. I come out from the middle and stop. Come out from the end and stop. From the middle, from the edge. It's so bold against that pink. I love it.
Mm-hmm.
Get all those little sections filled in. And then we can add some little embellishments in between those. So I'm going to do a long line through the middle and then 2 dots. Long line, 2 dots. If you have a different idea, do that instead. And then I'm going to do some little flicks with my pen on each side of that first line. So like here and here. And a flick, we're just kind of pushing down hard and then we kind of pull it out and lift. If you're not comfortable doing the flicks, then just draw a little line. Our first one is done, and that's our biggest one. I love it.
Cute.
Okay, now I want to do veerap again, and so I think I'm going to do it down here on the blue top. It's a really tiny space, but we're going to do the exact same thing. So I'm going to put in at the bottom this time this little half circle, and I forgot to leave a reflection. But if you want, you can put a little space in there. And then I'm going to do those little parallel things that come out. So I'm going to do one there. And maybe there. All right, mine got really close together, but I think that's okay. Then we do the little bumps. So we do a tiny bump and then the big bump. Tiny, big. And then we add in that little bit of dark ink from the middle and then a little bit from the outside. I think that's so cute.
Mm-hmm.
All right, wonderful. Okay, now I'm going to show you a texture. Oh, I know I didn't do the middles. I'm sorry. I'm going to put in those little middles and some dots. It's so tiny. You might not really have room for some flicks, but do what you want.
What about the stem?
I don't know. I was just sitting here thinking I might just trace it.
Yeah, that's cute.
Is that good?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So let's just trace our stems. And when I say trace, it's okay if you like go in a little bit into your paint or you go out and leave some white. It doesn't really matter. And if you want to put this little curve on the end, you could, just to give it a little bit of dimension. Okay, I'm going to go up here to this top acorn off to the right, and we're going to do a Zentangle pattern called Swarm. And this was day 31 of our Inktober challenge. Okay, so Swarm is really fun. Sometimes it like starts to stress me out because my like little triangles don't line up perfectly, but I promise you it doesn't matter. They don't have to line up perfectly. Okay, so I'm going to start on this little flat edge at the bottom of that cap, and I'm going to put in just a straight line about the width of my pen. And then I'm just making a series. I'm going to make it on the back on the white so you can see. We're just going to continue that and get shorter and shorter. And it might take 4, it might take 5. And then the next time we do it, we're going to not touch this one. We're going to go right next to it on one of the sides. And then we're going to make it smaller and smaller. Okay. So that like kind of control that you need to have to make yourself go smaller and smaller each time helps us focus. The tinier you make these, the longer it's going to take you to fill in the area. So don't be afraid to make these a little bit large. And these can twist and turn a little bit. They don't need to all line up perfectly. Like this one here is not lining up perfectly with that one, but it still works. So I'm going to zoom in there and show you that little space. Can I zoom in more? I can. Okay, I'm kind of wobbly. I've got this little like miniature triangular space there, and if I want, I can kind of go backwards and just like put in some little lines as if it's starting a new one. That's kind of hard to see, but it does not matter what direction these go in, so you don't have to overthink it. So I have this little tiny corner here. I can just do half a one. And up here. So if you hear chatter in the background, Audrey has 5 children.
I do.
5 amazing, incredible children. And they're all like getting home from school and stuff now. So if you hear some happy chatter, that's what that is. And it's a wonderful sound, so it's okay.
I'm sorry.
No, I love it. I love it. So now we can just trace over the stem, or we can put in some of these lines as if we are kind of imagining that swarm kind of growing up into it. So cute. I love how at the end you're just like line, 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 line.
I was like, ah!
Fill it in. That's perfect. Okay, so let's do swarm again. I think I'm going to do it down here on the green again, but on the bottom of this one, just so they're on opposite sides of the paper. This is a really tiny space, and I'm going to start at the flat area again. So that's at the top of this shape. And it's so small, you're just sort of imagining. One thing great about Zentangle method of drawing is that nobody knows what it's meant to look like, so no one's going to tell you it's wrong. Okay, got that little guy filled in. All right, now I want to do Flux. So Flux is one of my absolute favorites. Right there on the back here. Flux is a Zentangle pattern again. All right, and I'm doing Flux because often I use Flux just as kind of like a flourish coming out from another tangle. And to do it and make it fit inside a space is a little bit more of a challenge and kind of fun. So I'm going to make that happen right now. I'm going to do it in this purple top up here. Okay, so Flux is you start at a point and then you have a nice big round like petal. So Flux can be just like a pointed little oval, or you can make it kind of bend in and give it a little bit of a curve there. Okay, and then it just grows off of itself. So I could put one there and here, and you're just kind of playing. And then what happens is you end up with like funny little spaces left over, and that's what we're going to have some fun with. Okay, so I got this first one in here, and then I'm going to put my next point down here and just kind of let one grow that way. And it's longer and thinner, and that works great. It doesn't matter. I'm going to put one up here along this edge. You're basically making a loop, but it comes back to a point. So now I'm going to do one right here, and I can curve it this way, I can curve it this way, I can make it small or large. It doesn't matter. I'm going to make it come up here. And then I have this little area left, and I'm just going to leave it for right now. Do one this way. And at this point, you could go to the other side of the top of the acorn and work your way back and have them meet, but I'm just going to continue working from left to right. So I just put one in here, and look at how I just made it curve down and touch the bottom, because you're filling space. You're trying to take up whatever space you can, and I'm getting all these little extra areas left over, and I love it. I'm going to purposely do a large one right here. And I'm going to do a long one here and try to fill in most of that corner. And then I think I'm going to stop for a moment. How's it going?
I don't know.
I love it. I love how it kind of has like that texture of the top of an acorn.
Oh yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
It has like a little bit of texture to
Sure.
it. Okay, so now inside each of these, I'm going to give it a line and a dot. And I like that it kind of matches the veerap. I'm just doing one line, one dot. Doing mine kind of bold so they really stand out. And they come from that point towards that outer area.
This is cute.
Isn't that cute?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so now we've got a couple of options with these leftover spaces. One thing you could do is put in teeny tiny little flux to fill them in, or you could ink it in completely and give it a really dark, bold background. But what I'm going to do is fill mine with orbs or circles. We call them orbs because circles are hard to make, but orb just means it's roundish. Okay, so I've got this big area here. I'm just going to fill it as much as I can with one circle or orb. And then down here, I'm going to fill this little space. And in between here, and I try to just touch each edge that I can in that area. And maybe you have room for 2, maybe you have room for 5, it doesn't matter. But then I am going to ink in that little bit of area that's left around those little circles. It's such a tiny little amount left that I love darkening that background. I'm also going to run my pen around the outside edge of this one just to kind of clean it up. And I'm just going to trace my stem, but if you want, you could put some little orbs up in there, or you could put some little diagonal lines to give it some texture. What did she do? You did the little orbs. It's so cute. I love that. All right, ready to move on?
I am.
All right, this is a lot of inking, a lot of work, so make sure you relax your hands a little bit, you know, loosen your grip on your pen, roll your shoulders back a little bit, sit up straight, and we are almost done. We've got 4 little areas left. So we just did Flux up here. Let's put it somewhere else. I think I'm going to add it to the pink down here. And I'm going to do these. If you do them really tiny, it's going to take you a long time, so go ahead and go big. Even if you only end up fitting 3 or 4 little fluxes in there, that is okay. And mine go in all different directions. And I don't really have room for those little orbs. So after I do my lines and dots, I'm just going to ink in that background. Or you could just leave it because it's already pink and looks beautiful. But if you've got a spot even to add one orb, go ahead. I don't. It looks so different without the orbs. Like it's like a whole different pattern. It's so cute. I love yours.
Oh, yours too.
I love it.
Oh, yeah, so different. Oh, wait, I didn't do the centers.
Oh, yeah, do the centers, little lines and dots, or any other kind of embellishment you want to do. Okay, we're down to 3 spots. All right, what do we want to do next? Okay, I want to do a little bit of a grid pattern, and this one is called Tilly, T-Y-L-L-I, by Chrissy Frampton, a CZT. Okay. All right, I'm going to switch to pencil for a moment, which we haven't really done yet. And I'm going to go on, let's see, I think I'm going to do this yellow one down here. And I need a grid. And I want to have at least like 3, maybe 4 areas in my grid. So I'm going to go across here, and my width that I'm leaving is like maybe just a little bit smaller than my pencil. And I'm going really light. So I put in 3 lines, and I ended up with 4 spaces. 4 rows, I guess. And then I'm going to go down. So I'm going to go vertical. 1, 2, 3. There's mine. I've never made this pattern so tiny, so we're going to do some really tiny little detail work, but it's going to look amazing. Okay, so for this one, after you get your grid in, I'm actually going to tilt mine a little bit because I want to work on like one of these little rows of like diamonds that are here now. So I'm going to start in this top corner, and I'm going to go from one point to the other point, and I'm going to put in a seed shape, which is basically like the letter C and then a backwards C, and it goes from one corner to the next. And then I'm going to go down to the next one. So at the bottom of that point, that next little square that point is touching, and then I'm going to continue. And then at the end here, I would only see the very top. So I'm just going to give a tiny little bit there. Got that?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, now I'm going to turn it the right way again. And now I'm going to make these first 4 boxes like an X. So I have these 2 seeds going this way. I'm going to make the next 2 go this way so that all of their points touch in that middle. So I'm going to go here and here. And then I'm going to go down to these ones down here that I did, and I'm going to imagine that as an X, those 4 boxes. So not... Yeah, I guess we can do these 4 here. Okay, let's do these 4 here. So I'm going to go up there and down here. Corner to the corner. And then down at this one, I would go up to here and down to here. But again, it would kind of end early. Making sense?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Now I'm going to go up to this set of 4. I've already got this one, so I need one right here. And I'm imagining that X shape, so I need one over here and here. So now if I were just to look at that top row, I end up with kind of a zigzag. I go down and then up, down and then up. So this next one is going to go this way. It's going to start up here and go down. I'm only going to see about half of it though. And then I'm going to go to that next row and check. I go up, down, up, down. This one is going to go up. And I'm only seeing about half of it. We're just kind of finishing these little spaces now. So this one here needs to go this way. Down, up, and then this one I would see a partial. I hope this is not complicated.
I've got it, right?
You've got it.
Okay.
Okay, so then down here I've got one little corner left, and that's going to have to go like this, and I won't even see the other side of that seed. Isn't it so pretty?
I love this one.
Okay. Pause if you need to take a moment to finish that. But you should have all these cute little crisscrossing little seeds. And now in each seed, we're just going to give a couple little flicks on each of those little pinched ends. So that gives a little bit of texture. If you can't see that little pinched end, then don't put anything in there. Like if it's going off the paper. I'm going to trace around that whole shape as well. And it can be kind of a wiggly line. It doesn't have to be perfect. Got it? Okay. The last detail on this one is we're going to take these little like squishy diamonds that ended up being in the middle of those little seeds. And I'm going to put a line that goes from the bottom up to halfway and a little circle. And everywhere that I have one of those full diamonds, I'm going to do a line that goes up halfway and has a little circle. And then I'm going to color those in with ink. So my ones that are kind of halves, I'm not even going to put them in because this is such a small space, but you could, if you wanted to, put in the half that you would see. And I'm going to show you the last detail of this tangle. This is our most detailed tangle, by the way. But the last detail, this is really tiny. You don't have to put it in, but you almost put in like little arms, like of a person, and then add little dots to the end of those. You don't have to, but it's kind of cute. Audrey's deciding.
I feel like I don't have space.
Yeah, because they're kind of squished.
I like to see the difference between the two.
Mm-hmm.
That's so cute.
So fun. All right, we have 2 spaces left. I'm going to zoom out for a minute just to kind of check this out. This is so much fun. Okay. For the last two spaces, I'm going to do a tangle called Bunzo. And this is another Zen Tangle one, and it was in our Inktober. So 6 total we did today. It's kind of a lot. Okay, so Bunzo. This one is really fun, and I'm going to try to make it as quick as I can. See if I can zoom in. Okay, I'm going to go up to this blue top corner one up here. So Bunzo is like Flux, where it starts with kind of that petal shape. So I'm just going to put a petal right there, and I'm making it about the size of my pinky nail because we want to go big. All right, and then we go back down to the point and we kind of come up the side, and then we bump out a little bit and give it like a little aura across the top. Okay, and I'm going to do it 2 more times. Come up that side and around. And one more. And then we're going to use that same technique we used in veerap. So this first one I'm going to leave empty, but in the second one, I'm going to start down in those little crevices. I'm going to come up almost to the halfway point and then stop with my ink, and then come up the other side and stop with my ink, giving it that little reflection. Then we're going to skip a line and go up to that next section. So skip an area, go to that next area, come up almost halfway, but then stop. Switch to the other side. That's a drama tangle because it's got that contrast of the really dark with the light. So that's one little bunzo, so I'm going to add some more. So I'm just going to go up the side here, and I'm trying to fill space. So 1, 2, 3, I like to do 4 so that I have 2 areas that I can ink in. And depending on how large or small you made these, you might have to do more than I do. It's okay. So the cool thing about Bunzo is it can start anywhere, it can go in any direction. So now I just kind of have this like awkward shape of a top, and so I'm just going to do one over here. And I'm thinking about filling space, and maybe I only do that first little shape in one aura. I ink in that second spot there, and then I can decide if I want to keep going. Like I could fit one there and one here. It's hard to see on my paper. See how I just kind of imagined one tucking in back there? And then if I want, I can continue any of these to just fill in that back area. So I'm going to go over to this one on the side, and I'm going to give that like a little aura. And then one more, and this one would be the one that's kind of inked in. Just sort of making it up at the end there, but filling those spaces. And if you want to go back and like that first little petal or rounded thing that we made, you could add a line and a dot. You could add a smaller little set of that inked in layer, or you can just leave it. Maybe in mine I'll put a little curl. Just because, why not? Look how cute that looks. Okay, we've got one left and it's the tiniest little spot. So for this last one, I want you to pick your favorite out of all of these or a completely different one and do that on the top. So if you want to do Bunzo again, so you get that dark drama, you can do that. If you want to do a mingle, which is that very first one we did with those square spirals, you could do that. You could do Flux again. What do you think?
Oh, this one. 1,000,000%.
Oh, she's doing that one again.
I'm obsessed.
Isn't it pretty?
Uh-huh.
So she's going to do the Tilly again. So starting with a grid and putting those in. So maybe I will, I want you to do something different than I do. So you do the little grid. She's going to do it so tiny. And then I'm going to do, I think I'm just going to do Bunzo again.
Why do I want to laugh at the name Bunzo?
I know, isn't that funny? The names of a lot of tangles are hilarious. Okay, I'm going to do some little Bunzos in here.
Oh.
What?
My size isn't good.
Oh, you're fine.
We'll get there.
So if you're watching mine, I just kind of made my Bunzo go like kind of curve up and around over here. And that's sort of fun that it doesn't have to keep going the same direction. It can kind of just grow and build in different directions. That's so delicate and cute.
It's a baby.
I love it. If you are about done, go back and check, and like I would outline each acorn just to sort of bring it all together. And again, it doesn't have to be an exact tracing. It can be a little wobbly. I feel like we had this beautiful watercolor and then we added these and it just changed it completely. Just the watercolor by itself was so cool. If you want to add anything to your stems, like I'm just going to do something on this Bunzo so you can see. I'm just going to add some little like rounded lines. So you could add texture to every single one of those stems if you want, just by putting in some lines or some orbs. Up here, I think I'll do some of those little square spirals. Down here, I'll do some little orbs.
I love how it's not watercolor and it's not Zen Tangle. It's its own new thing now.
It's a new thing.
It's a Zen Color.
Zen
I
Color,
don't know.
Water Tangle.
Yeah.
I don't know. So I, when she sent me this like idea of doing these acorns, I was like so excited. I came up with all these patterns. And then when I got to her house today, I was like, oh, look at that beautiful border. We should have done a border tangle. I did not think about a border tangle. There are so many amazing ones that you could add. But what I'm going to do with my pen is I'm going to go just in a little bit from this, and I'm going to add my own little inked border. You do not have to do this, but I'm keeping it kind of close to the white and just giving it that little bit of dark ink because we have so much of that dark ink on the inside. It's just kind of fun. And one of the Inktober patterns we did was called Bugs, and a lot of you turned them into little ladybugs. If you want to add like a little ladybug on your paper somewhere, you could. It could be like walking up the side of the frame, or it could be on top of an acorn. So I'm going to add one up here, and I'm just going to do a little bump with some spots. Oh no, I feel like it needs to be watercolored in, but I'm going to give it this little face here, but just darken it.
That's so cute.
I'm gonna have to go back though and add a little bit of watercolor. So if you want to add a little bit of nature in there, you can. So in Zentangle, we always initial our work. In watercolor, Audrey signs her work with her full name usually, and she often does it like up the side of a part of her paper. So if you want, you can initial down below, you could sign down below, or you could sign your name up along one of the acorns. I think that's what I'm gonna do. And we did it, and I'm gonna have to have Audrey bring hers over here. Well, look at, okay, so she's a beginner. Check that out. Does not look like a beginner at all. It looks amazing. What'd you think of that project?
Oh, I loved it. I'm always just, Zentangle is a good name, but it's like I'm just always so chill when you're teaching us. I love it.
It's so fun. Oh, look at, oh, you did some little, look at her little embellishments here along her frame, little lines and zigzags. That's so cute. Okay, I'm gonna do something. I'm gonna do little like loops.
Oh, cute.
Just every so often. It's like a competition.
Yeah.
Like you did something, now I have to.
Yeah.
And we could even do some little like squiggles. Oh my gosh, this is so fun.
Oh, adorable.
All right, you guys.
And look at the difference.
And look at the difference from just the watercolor to that.
Yeah.
I love it.
Really cool.
So if you're watching this, of course, on my site, you can go to Let's Tangle on Facebook, and that is my Facebook group where you can share your work, and I would love to see your work. You can also go to
my Facebook page, Audrey Shantz Art.
Audrey Shantz Art on Facebook and share your work on her page as well. Is that it? Are we good?
Yes, that's so fun.
We're both like so chill now.
Yeah.
That was amazing. Thank you so much, you guys. And remember, part 1 of this video will be linked below on Audrey Shantz YouTube.
Yep.
Okay, thanks. Bye-bye.
Bye.